Ladies and gentlemen, welcome your faces to a brand new video. My name's Tom, also known as Syndicate, and today we're going to be discussing what went wrong with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And I'm going to try and be the most balanced devil advocate sort of member of the community to talk about this without raging and shitting on the game too hard. Let me just put a little bit of an asterisk there of saying it's going to be really hard to do that because I've tried to film this video now for like the last hour and it's just got me doing nothing but stressing, raging, and complaining to a T. So bear with me as I'm going to go through a list of things that I want to talk about as to what went wrong with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Now, straight off the bat, I just want to give you guys my overall opinion of what I think of the game and my rating out of 10, which I think is pretty fair. Now, just so you guys understand this, I've had 35 hours worth of gameplay on this game. You would be like, Tom, how do you even know that? Because there is no barracks to check your leaderboard, scores, time, or anything, which is a topic for later on in this video. But I've streamed it all to YouTube, and you guys can go back throughout the entire gameplay and just listen to me whining like a little bitch about the game and just everything in general, because there has been a rocky start to this game. But something I have been very vocal about is my opinion and thought of rating on this game. I feel like the game is lacking so much content, to the point where I put out a tweet saying, is it just me, or does it feel like we've been given a game that is 60% complete? To which shows in my rating for this game. Out of 10, I have been balancing between a 6 to a 7 out of 10. But unfortunately, the more I play it and the lack of content I realize there is, I'm leaning more towards it being a 6.5 out of 10. I love the Infinity Ward multiplayer series. I always have done. I think they know exactly what they're doing. However, when it comes to this game, I feel like they've decided to just throw out the playbook of like what works and what they know is great and try to do something different when it doesn't need to be done. So straight off the bat for me, I want to tell you like my story with Modern Warfare 2. This whole new game that we've been given. There was a beta that was released and I downloaded it, but I didn't play a single game until the very last day of the beta. I thought, you know what? I don't want to grind to the highest rank of the beta, unlock everything. I want everything on the launch to feel like new. And I'm really, really glad I did that, because if I would have played the beta for the entire time and that, you know, just smashed every unlock possible in the beta, when it came to this full game being released, I would have been severely disappointed. I actually only played one game, which lasted 8 minutes, on a ground war map, and I thought, you know what, I like the feel, I like the gunplay in this game, I like the layout of the map that I was playing, which was a ground war map, which wasn't too big. Little did I know that I was going to be severely disappointed when I saw the rest of the maps in ground war, but I thought, you know what, this actually works and this ticks the box. However, roll on past the beta and to the release of the full game, I genuinely feel like I could still be playing a beta. And I know that's a strong statement because obviously we got loads more unlocks and loads more features. But when I say loads more features, if you were to compare this game, Modern Warfare 2, at its actual launch, no excuses of waiting for Season 1, and compared it to, say, the launch of Modern Warfare 2, it is night and day for the amount of content you've been given. It is absolutely ridiculous. If the 35 hours of playing, I have managed to get to the highest rank possible, I've got 5 golden guns, and I have smashed every game mode to the point where I'm saying, now what? And don't get me wrong, the average Call of Duty player could probably jump on for a few hours a day when they get back from work or from school or whatever it be, play for a little bit, give it a break, come back to it and love it. But as someone who basically did still no live Call of Duty 4 until like 6 o'clock in the morning on weekends with my friends, I could play that game again and again and again. And I do often say to myself, well, whoa, Tom, it might just be a nostalgia fact, but if you actually do compare Modern Warfare 2 to the new Modern Warfare 2.2, it is crazy how night and day the difference is. From not only the launch of the get-go of content you had, the abilities that you had, the unlocks, the barracks, the challenges, the simple core basics, to even touch on that, like things like leaderboards, you know, your barracks, your challenges, emblems to unlock, all these core basics which have been a staple in Call of Duty seem to have disappeared. Even more so to the fact that people forget things like the perk system in Modern Warfare 2. You could, you know, unlock the perk by ranking up, but then you could get a pro version of the perk. There was so much more content to that game, and even so much more content to the game of Modern Warfare 2 2019 compared to this. To where I just feel like, what has happened with Call of Duty for them to give us such an unfinished game that feels like it's lacking so much content? Now, I really don't want to sound like a broken record of like being stuck in the past and nostalgia of being like, but I want it to be like this. I understand games have to develop and improve, but you know, like, if something ain't broke, don't try fixing it. And I feel that's what Call of Duty have kind of, like, done in this circumstance. I feel like they've missed the mark of going, right, you know, like, from a progression lineage of, say, we had COD 4, and then they improved on that with Modern Warfare 2, and then Modern Warfare 2 with Modern Warfare 3, and then 2019 was just such a beautiful modern-day Modern Warfare game that was just incredible. And still to this day, I would probably put that as my second favorite Call of Duty of all time, or maybe top 3, because COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, and then Modern Warfare 2019 were just such good games. And I feel like they just took the things that worked and built upon it. And I feel like that's what Call of Duty at its core has always been about. Take what works, add to it, and improve on it. Bring new things to the table. And if it ain't broke, don't try fixing it. And it seems that's what they've done in this one. Like, creating a class with your 3 perks. Like, did it really need redoing to the point where you have 2, and then this new unlock system, whether it's a period of time or you unlock it sooner through your, you know, like, your gameplay and unlocking it with scores or whatever, did that necessarily need bringing to the table? I would argue to say no. I feel like this whole new system of perks they've introduced actually limits the style of play for people. You know, you could say people are just going to pick Ghost, Tom, and Camp, but if anything, you're going to wait until the game duration pans out or you unlock it in the game to still use Ghost anyway. So why are you limiting people's playstyle in that one regard just by changing a system that didn't need changing? To the unlock system of back in the day, you get a gun, you level it up and unlock your attachments. Whereas now, if you want to unlock, you know, this one gun with this one scope, well, to get that scope, you have to level this up to level 20, but to get that to level 20, you need to unlock this to level 15 to be able to use that scope on this gun. It just seems like they've taken things that were, like, such a simple core, like, fundamental, and just, like, spent too much time developing it to look somewhat different or feel different to make it seem like a new game, whereas the people and players really care about that actual mechanic to a T that I think they think people do. Like, for me, I would prefer the system to be the same. Like, I pick my 3 perks. I've got loads of weapons. I'm okay with a million different ways of customization and the fine-tuning elements they brought to the game. I feel like that once, you know, people have started to max out the weapons and play with that, it will add a lot of, like, variety to the game. But the core fundamentals that it seems that they've put the focus in on changing, like progression trees of weapons and the way perks work and all this sort of stuff, is taken away from their ability to actually progress the game into the future. You know, like adding to the game rather than changing something from the past that was perfect. They've put their time into the wrong place completely. And I feel like that shows with not just like the variety of things to actually do in the game and ways to play the game, because I'm at a point now where I'm like, well, I feel like I've pretty much done everything. Yes, I can go for the mastery camos and stuff, which I will throw out there. I think the camo system that they've put in looks great. And even more so, the actual camo system overall, I think is brilliant, because now they've made it so rather than having to grind for the same camo on every single gun, if you unlock one solid camo for one gun, say it be just a white color, you can actually unlock that for that one weapon, and it unlocks across the board for every other one. And I think that's a brilliant new system of a way of taking away something so tedious and making it interesting across the board. And I feel like that's a perfect example of if they would have just stuck with what worked and built upon it, we would have been given such a more in-depth game for moving forward into the future, like more systems, more features, and just built upon a game that, you know, plays well, feels good, and attention could be put into different places. Like a good place for some time and attention would be actually into the map design and layout. I know I sound like a bit of a hater here, but if you've played this map on screen right now, you will understand that that is one of the worst maps in Call of Duty history. It feels like we've gone from maps that work so well, being from like 3-lane sort of methods of knowing where your fights and combat styles were like going to go down and like where you could engage, to it just being all over the damn place. I would love to throw out here right now an actual concept that the actual developers just do an actual community vote on their website or a poll or Twitter and just be like, right, these are the maps. Which ones do people like? Do you think it's too big? Does it need reassessing? And work with the community. Like, if we've got such a development cycle of the next 2 years of playing this game, work with the community to help develop more of a fun feedback game to play. Because listen, man, I've already tried to my wit's end with games like, you know, Treyarch Zombies to be like, oh, maybe this would be better, that would be better. You could change this up and change that up, and you know you're just going to get nowhere. But something that I think is so cool with like map design is, if you're going to spend 99% of your time in these sort of like 10 to 15 map environments, surely with feedback, we can create like the best possible versions of them. And then that way, the actual like time you spend in this game and playing it is a more fun, enjoyable experience. Like, you can't expect them to go revert into the old perk system. You can't expect them to revert these changes or make drastic additions to things. Like, I just don't expect that whatsoever. I'm sure when Warzone rolls out, like the new Warzone, everyone's attention will be on that, and everyone will be buzzing, and that'll take up, you know, just everyone's time, and it'll be perfect. Like, I can't wait for that. I've not actually even played that either, so that could be the saving grace. It might be the case that I'm just a bit over multiplayer. Maybe it is to the, you know, the cool kids of the today, the tiki-tokis and all that sort of stuff of just running around gunning. They love this game, but I can't help but just see across the board everyone's feedback that they feel like there's so much lacking from this game. So, you know, when they say like make the most of a bad situation, like the game's not bad, but it is bad that it's in a state that we're just lacking so much that it's like, right, let's get to a point where we can make the most of it. Like, let's switch this into a positive. If this is what we've got, this is what we're working with, let's create an environment where we can make the best out of this situation. So if anyone at Infinity Ward happened to possibly see this, all I can suggest is like the feedback from the community is something you guys could take on board and change with map developments, like cycles of the way they're laid out or the way they flow, cut off certain areas of the map just to create different engagements. Like, if that is something that is possible to do, that's where players are spending most of the time. It will change up the weapons they use, the perks they use, all from a map that they're going to play. So as much as I have got things to say in more of a negative way about this game, I'm trying to stay positive and I want to work with what we've got. But alas, I just find myself being like, you know what? Is it too little too late? Are the developers going to listen to be like, hey, can we please do something to make the best of a situation? Or is it a case of the game is out, they've got the money, and they don't really care? I really, really don't think that's the case from the developers themselves. But if it is from the overarching bosses at like Activision being like, hey, you've made it, you've made the money, it's the best-selling COD ever, on to the next one already. Is that just the way it is? Or can the developers save what is such a loved franchise being Modern Warfare? I don't think it's fully dead in the water, but when it comes to a replayability standpoint, I do unfortunately feel like it is falling short. If you guys feel the same way, let me know in the comments. And if you have a completely different take on it, let me know as well. Like, if you do agree, leave a like rating. But honestly, your feedback is what is important to me, because I may just be looking at this from like a wrong perspective, but it's so hard where everywhere I'm talking about it, everyone seems to feel the same way. And if there's something this video can put across to the community and to developers to learn like, hey, something needs to be done or something needs to be shook to just like, you know, bring life back into this sort of OG system that we've known and loved so badly, like, is it too late to fix it and to save it? Or is it just the case of we'll wait till Warzone and then hopefully that fixes everything and everyone just stops talking about multiplayer? So I'm going to wrap up this video now, guys. I hope you did enjoy it, and I do hope I didn't sound like an ongoing record and, you know, just some nostalgia-tripping man, which I probably did. But, yeah, it is what it is. I do love Call of Duty. I just want to see it strive, and I just want to see it thrive and just grow and grow and grow. Maybe absolutely pub stomping like a wizard and having the time of your life, but it is what it is. This is just my take and my opinion. Is Call of Duty a game that, you know, that you should buy, enjoy? I would say yeah, but if anything, I would say like just wait until Warzone's release, which I believe is going to be free to play, and just play that instead. I would probably pass on the multiplayer for this, because for £70, do I think it's worth it? Not necessarily. Are you going to play it for the campaign? Maybe. I've heard great things about it, and from the first mission I played, it did seem beautiful on PC. You're probably going to love it, but for me, it is just one of those things where I would say probably pass on this and wait for the free game, because you're not getting the full in-depth experience you usually would. But alas, I must go. Thank you for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video. Can't wait to actually read your guys' comments down below. Until my next video on my next live stream, subscribe, turn your notifications on, and I'll be back with maybe a follow-up video to see what happens down the line or with the Season 1. It may change it for the better, it may change it for the worse, but alas, this was my like sort of launch week review, and it gets a 6.5 out of 10. If anything changes, I'll keep you guys notified and updated. So until then, much love, adios.